weird because I introduce events like this like pretty much every day, but usually I'm doing a kind of bad Conan O'Brien impression. But here I'm actually appearing as myself. But I want to thank Anna and Amy for doing this. We just collaborated on this chapbook festival, which was awesome. And also I'm excited to read with the other readers, Kathy and our friends, and I admire all of their work, including Johannes and Joel. I have like 2 books by each of the readers, and like 10 books from action books. Okay, so I'm gonna not do this.
Keep talking.
Okay, dialogue. All right. Okay, so this first piece is about a time when I was in college and I had a dream that my mother and my father were deciding my future along with the 8th century classical Chinese poet Wang Wei. And Wang Wei is like the 3rd most famous Chinese poet of all time, and he's often like a lot of those poets mistranslated, in that he sort of ends up being naturalized and he sounds kind of like Robert Frost or something. But I think that in the original he probably would be much more like Beckett or the Desert Monks, or even Eliot or Quartets, in that he's sort of very geometrical. He's talking about nature, but you know, it's actually about this like terrifying enunciation of the world. That's what I think. So, okay, okay, I'll just read this. Okay. My father and my mother decide my future, and how could we forget Wang Wei? The suitcase open on the bed. My grandfather is packing up his organs. When he is done, he takes a taxi to my grandmother's house for supper. Exits the empty car to Taipei Alley, dissolved, now the Los Altos Club. So, did you listen to him? My father says, taking his keys out of the ignition. You should become a lawyer, but your grandfather says anything is fine, as long as you're the best. My father stays silent. My father stays. My mother stays silent. I sit and suck my thumb. I saw your painting. It was beautiful, my mother says to Wang Wei, restrained beside us by back seat belt in streetlight world. Wang Wei, who says, in the silent bamboo woods, sitting along, playing strings and bellowing long. But America is allergic to bamboo, my father says to Wang Wei. They love skill sets, cash in the first person singular, the language of C++, not our English. Steps out, shuts the door, puts gas pump by Akira trunk. My father's son does not understand, forgets the Chinese he never remembered, but my mother holds words in her mouth. The Peking opera soundtrack of my childhood. You sound like it. I'd listen to it on the radio, you know, when I had to sweep the floor. And then Wang Wei. Nobody knows but the deep road and the luminous moon that glows in response. California moon, not glow, or as the translation might say, it radiates instead like beige screen before my mother, now at HP after Taipei in degree and home ec, and divorced. My mother like the moon which rents light from its past. My mother who says, looking at the dashboard, you should listen to your father. I don't know. Here he comes. My father unlocks the door and says, drop the keys in the toilet, but that's what life is like. You're young, my father says. I'm not sure to me or Wang Wei. You don't understand the world which loves those who enter it. And then Wang Wei. Red hearts in the southern country. Spring comes with stems enlarging. I didn't know you two were still together. We're not, my father says. He is unsentimental and gestures at the wish that furnishes the mind of his son. Your son? asks Wang Wei. He has seen me and become real, as though a ghost could die into a man. Not the monk you quite expect. Wang Wei wears a cowboy's deadened face and stares at you, not unlike an establishment shot. He says, who are you? Like the scene in the movie where the actors find the camera and say, stop looking at me. They quit the car and stand. And I say, wish you'd gather some, caught me more of the sting that is longing. And Wang Wei asks, who are you? And my father says, decide. This next piece is from a novel, something like a novel. And there are two, I don't know where in the sequence of the novel this will take place, but there are two characters, Renard and Moreau, and the exegesis is going to be longer than the piece, which is like 3 sentences long. But Renard and Moreau both were in love with the same woman, whose name is Sophia. So this might be at the end of the novel. The novel is called The 10th Planet Romances, and it's romances not in the sense of, half in the sense of romance novels, but also like Romance of the Rose or Allegory or something. Renard woke up on Moreau's couch many years later and yawned. I dreamed Sophia and I were actors. I saw her at the mouth of an alley and I shot her. She said, "You killed me." But I said, "No, you're wrong. I only shot her with my finger." She said, "This is theater," and died.